want to do. I mean, we all know how to have sex. Any two persons that have sex, it's one of the fundamental things that you can do. Meaning, it's very easy to get into that mood and have sexual intercourse because we are pre-programmed for it. That's what a lot of persons they don't understand, that we are as human beings pre-programmed to have sex because it's what we need to do to procreate, to reinvent ourselves, to get to get ourselves replicated. That's what sex is all about. So when one thinks about the sexual act and you know the fine parts of it and whatnot, it's not a complicated process. But when you are doing that with someone for the sake of just carnal pleasure, for just pleasure, then it's easy to do. It's very easy. That's why we always talk about how easy it is for a man to pay for sex, to go to a place where he finds someone who is selling their body and he can pay for the sexual act and there is no emotions attached, there's no sentiments that goes with it other than getting the feeling, that nice feeling that you get when you're having sex, and at the end of it, the culmination of it, you're just happy. But is it true happiness? Does those persons who do those things get fulfillment in their life, or is it just a temporary relief? And the answer is it's a temporary relief until you have the urge again. There are guys out there who can go to a place to purchase sexual act repeatedly, and it's no big deal for them. As a matter of fact, they live for that. I'm not condemning it. I'm just saying that there are persons who can do that. And then there are those who, just give me 1 second. There are those who indulge. Could you say something on your end? Okay, good. I'm hearing better now. Yeah. There are those who indulge with a particular partner because it's beneficial to both of them. That's the sex with benefit, or the friends with benefit kind of situations. And we know that exists. And how much emotion that goes into that, and sentiments and feelings that goes into that, we don't know. Because it all depends on the two persons who are in that agreement and why they're doing it. But think about when you have deep feelings for someone, a girlfriend, a lover, a person who you have connected with, and suddenly that person has meaning in your life. And with that meaning, with that feelings that you have, eventually it's going to lead to something physical. Because very rare you'll have a relationship that has that kind of connection and there's no physical contact. That's a very rare thing. Although it does exist, but it's very rare. Because you could be madly in love with someone, deeply have deep feelings for the person, but may not have the opportunity to engage in a physical relationship. So you have all the trappings of it, you have all the feelings that goes with the relationship, but you don't have the physical part of it. But we do know as adults that when we have deep feelings for someone and we get into the intimate act of love making, of having sex, that is something that is far different from just hooking up with somebody for sex. Yes. You see, one of the things that I've found, and this is from introspection, I'm looking at myself and also talking to a number of individuals through a cross section of society. Yes, you can have deep, intimate feelings for two persons. When we question whether we can do those things or not, you're questioning the limits of the brain and the capacity of a human being. And there are those who will tell you that it's not possible, but that's because they put limitations on themselves and they put limitations on other. But you can definitely have deep physical, emotional, psychological sexual connection with more than one individual, if you so choose, and if you have the capacity to develop that. Not everyone has the capacity to develop that and deal with it. For example, let's say you are in love with two women at the same time, but those two women singularly will not accept the fact that you could be in love with both, with her and another person, because they don't see themselves loving two other persons with that intensity. So they will put their limitations onto you and tell you you can't do that. But you know deep in your heart, the way you feel, that yes, I have that connection with two persons and I could actually do it. And if you're trying to convince someone of something and they cannot understand that, they will never be able to accept what you're saying. So it's very difficult, even sometimes when I'm doing a lecture and that particular topic comes up, and it always comes up at some time or the other, because whatever reason the woman is asking it or the man is asking it, it's a question that is going to be asked. So when a person asks that question and they ask you if it is possible, and you tell them yes, it is possible, immediately they get in the defensive because they have their reason for asking the question. Sometimes they want to hear you say, no, it's not possible, because their partner may have told them that that's the way I feel about you and somebody else. So sometimes your answer to an individual on a particular question is dependent on the answer they want to hear. And I'm glad you don't have to stick a pin in the future. You want to ask a question, go ahead and ask a question, because it is important. Those things are important because I can give the meaning and information from this end, but I don't know the questions that people have. And what you have brought up there is a very important point. For right. And it's something I hear all the time. And it's something that is questioned a lot of times because people want to know if it is possible. No, no, I don't think they are the ones that are bringing that out. You see, feelings. Now, let me ask you a question. In your opinion, as a layman with a lot of experience, a mature man, is it possible? Have you been placed in a situation like that, or do you think it's possible to love two persons at the same time? All right. Well, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know for a fact that you have experienced that. Okay? And you are trying to explain that to a person who does not want to accept that that could be so. Immediately, that person is going to put you down and say it's impossible or that cannot happen. But for those of us who have experienced it, who have gone through it, who have understood that yes, it is possible, we have nothing to prove. Because it's an argument that you cannot win. It's an argument you cannot win because the person who does not feel that way or doesn't want to admit to feeling that way will tell you it is impossible. So you're trying to tell them, yes, it's possible, and they tell you it's impossible. And how are you going to let them see your way? Because they cannot experience that. It's like you trying to describe the taste of a really nice, firm, juicy mango to someone. You cannot do that unless the person experiencing a nice, firm, juicy mango. Right? There's no amount of words that you can put to describe that the person is going to get the taste or the feel of that nice, ripe, firm, juicy mango. Right. So it's the very same thing with love. Love is such a wide ranging word. It's such a vast word. It encompasses so many different feelings. How do you go about trying to explain that you can love two individuals at the same time with that intensity, right? To a person who cannot do the very same thing? It's impossible. So a lot of times I just have to give up and say, okay, whatever you believe, that's it for you. I know differently. And you leave it at that. You don't try to convince someone. Because trying to convince them, they will never understand. So getting back to the topic of hand, when you have that intensity of emotional connection, that feeling that you have with that person, and you get into the physical act with the individual, there are a number of things that has to happen. One of it is that you have to actually be in the moment and appreciate what the person is doing to you and for you, and vice versa. And when you do that, whatever feelings the person is getting from you, you can actually see it in their expression, hear it in their moans and groans and voice, and you can get that intensity from the way the person touches you or react to whatever you're doing. So that is being in the moment. But if you are in bed with a woman, someone who you love, someone who you care for, but the person is not into the act as you are, you cannot enjoy it to the fullest. The enjoyment might be there based on the satisfaction that you're seeking, but you will not enjoy it to the fullest as if the person was there connected to you. So there is a connectivity between individuals when it comes to the sexual act. There must be a connectivity. And that connectivity is a deep rooted feeling that you have for the person. It will be something that is expressed in a particular way physically. And when you understand all these little things, and it's not that you have to study it, because it is human nature to want to be loved. We all need to be loved. We all need to be cared for. Some person will say, I care if nobody like me. That is not true. You must care if somebody like you as a human being. Unless, of course, you're a really deviant human being. We need endorsement from someone. We need to know that there's someone out there who's looking out for us, who cares for us, who wants to smile with us. And that is human nature. So in the sexual act, when that person looks you in the eyes and smile with their eyes, and at the same time expresses that longing for you through their facial expression, through their touch, their caress, the way that they grip you with their legs, their hands, all that is an expression of how the person feels about you. You cannot be making love to someone and they're pushing you away. Then it tells you a different story, as based on what you're doing. It might be the opposite of what the person is expressing to you. How could you enjoy that? How could you as a person enjoy the sexual act with someone if they are repulsed by you or they're pushing you away? It's not possible. Unless, of course, you are a type of human being that's strictly in it for the physical act. And, some guys would say, I just want to get my rocks off, and when I'm done with that, I go on my way. But the true essence of two persons being in love, caring for one another, appreciating each other, the sexual act is more intense when you get into it. It is something that really brings about that harmony between you and the person, that intensify the experience between you and the person, that makes things stronger and better. And we need to understand that. We need to come to terms with that, so we know that whatever we're doing, we meaning human beings, persons who are listening to the program, persons who are going to engage in things, that it is important to have that connection mentally, physically, emotionally, and the physical part of it must bring everything together. It's like a recipe. You're putting together a recipe to create a meal. all the ingredients must be there in the portion that it's supposed to be. And that is how you're going to get the end result. So if the first part of it is having feelings for each other, now feelings is not 50-50. It could be 70-30. It could be 60-40. It could be 55-45. But the fact of the matter is there's feelings between two persons. And that's the first ingredients. Secondly, there must be an agreement that yes, we're going to get together for the physical act. It must be one person forcing the other person.
Nope.
Right. So if you have both parties saying yes, and they don't say yes by saying, let's sign a contract, yes, we're going to make love. The yes is the way you touch each other, the way you caress each other, the kiss that comes with it. And sometimes it could be subtle, and sometimes it could be something that is very intense. And with that intensity, the yes is coming all the time with whatever act the person is doing. With the subtle act, you're still trying to build up, and you're still trying to figure out, well, yes, are we going to reach that point where we're going to have penetrative sex? But with the intensity part of it, when two people want to get each other, they're ripping off each other clothes, they're kissing passionately, they're slamming each other against the wall, they're diving on the bed. That is yes, 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 yes. Passion. And it is yes with an exclamation mark. As opposed to leading up slowly, slowly, slowly. That might be a yes, but with a period or even a question mark. I'm questioning whether we are going to reach that far. Wondering if we're going to reach there. Hoping we're going to reach there. Because with the hope, it gives you the intensity. If you don't have hope to reach there, you will not increase the intensity. If you know you're going to be shut down by your partner, making initial love, kissing, caressing, touching, feeling up and whatnot, but you know he or she is not going to go the distance, you're going to question, well, when are we going to stop? Because you know it's going to end before you actually get into it. And there are relationships where people have that agreement with one another that they know they're not going to cross certain lines until they get married and whatnot. But yet still they're passionate with one another to a point.
Yeah. There are things we could do in the meantime.
But even though there are things we can do, you have to curb your enthusiasm. You have to control your feelings. Because as a man, we know when a man gets an erection, he don't think with his brain anymore. He thinks with his other head. He thinks about sexual satisfaction, and that's a fact. Whereas a woman could get that heated and lock off when it comes to the point of penetration. She'll tell you no, and no means no. For whatever reason. So you have to know in the back of your mind that, hey, how far this is going to go. What is going to happen here? How intense this relationship or this setting is going to be. And how far are we going to take it? Where do I need to stop off? Because in the passionate part of it, where you know the sex act is happening, it will happen, you could ejaculate, you could get up, you could have sex again. It could be a repeat of whatever you're doing. Because the passion is there. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of making love and you forget about eating. You're thirsty and you don't even want to get up to drink. You don't want to stop. Because it's so intense.
You don't want to leave that moment.
Rhythm, you don't want to reduce the rhythm. You don't want to leave the moment. Everything is perfect. Everything about whatever is happening is perfect. So you want to be able to enjoy every moment of it. The bottom line is we need to take a break for our own physical well-being. We need to take a break to eat, to replenish nutrients in our body. We need to do that. But sometimes the passion is so much that you don't even think about that. You're not thinking about that. That is not important in the moment until after you climax, you have an orgasm or you ejaculate. Then all of a sudden you want to know how the hell you're feeling so hungry. You're ravenous.
Sometimes you might just want to lie down there still. Just cuddle up and I'll eat. Just,
Yes.
in your mind, you're
In
telling
your-
yourself,
Correct.
"Look up just now."
Correct.
But you see, this, I want to be here. Right
I want to be
now.
here right now. You don't want to lose that
Nah,
feeling.
I wait too long for this. Yeah, it has happened.
So that is the intensity I wanted to bring forth this evening for people to understand that there's a passion, and how many of us have lost that passion in our relationship, have lost that. There are persons who have lost it. It's no longer there. They don't get that intensity from their partner. They don't get that feeling anymore. The sexual act just becomes an act.
The magic, the spark to everything, it just, the breeze pass and blow it out. You can't rub two sticks together and get up no fire there, no. Just.
The passion has gone out of the relationship. And when the passion goes from a relationship, what are you surviving on? You must be passionate about something. You must want to do something. So that feeling has to be there. That intensity must be there. Once many clients come to me, and when you ask them about the passion in their love making, some of them will tell you, what love making? There's no such thing. We don't do that anymore.
I could get hard, she could lie down there, go and we do it. Yeah, and then
We sit down, we watch TV together, I rub she foot, she rub my back, and that's it. It doesn't lead to anything else. And what brings about that? You see, you have to examine what happens in a relationship to make you reach that point. Now, I don't know if you have ever heard this, but there are some persons who will say, my husband like my brother now, or my wife like my sister. How could you allow a relationship that was flourishing, was based on love and a certain level of passion, to disintegrate into one where you become siblings? You're referring to each other as though you are siblings. That is not right. Psychologically, that can't be right. Now, psychologically, a person might say, well, we connect with each other so strongly.
on us. It'd be like
Yeah,
sibling.
yeah, but no.
No, we're not that.
No, don't use the word like siblings. Don't use the word like a brother, like a sister. Don't do that to yourself. When you do that, when you do that to yourself, you are disintegrating your value, diminishing your value. You are lessening that with the person, and you're going to cause problems. It's the same thing with a couple having their child sleeping on the bed with them. Where is your moment for passion? Where is your moment to enjoy each other? When are you going to get the time to do that? Days go by, that turn into week, that turn into weeks, that turn into months, that turn into years, because you get so accustomed to this person being in the room, sleeping between you and your spouse, and there's no opportunity to do anything.
It's like a habit that just come
And I can't break it.
You can't break it. Yeah.
One of the things that happens with couples a lot, when that complacency sets in, they move on and become robotic in their behavior towards each other, and they themselves lose passion for life. Sometimes life has no meaning to them. It's not, there's no intensity to life as it should be, you know. I'm not talking about, you see, a person might simply say, well, if that happening in your relationship, get a man or get a woman. But sometimes your senses has been so dull that you don't know how to do that anymore. You don't know how to be a man anymore to flirt with a woman or to pick up a woman. Or a woman don't know how to project herself out there to get somebody. So you see her dress mood changes. The way she put on her makeup changes. The way she looks at herself in the mirror changes because she's not seeing a passionate individual. She's just seen somebody who's living misery in misery. And the same thing with guys. And they'll blame the spouse, but they themselves are not taking an active role in fixing things.
Yeah.
You need, as a person, to take an active role to fix things in your relationship. You know? And don't blame the other person. The first thing comes about is finding that time to communicate initially. And in communicating, explaining the things that are affecting you. That's what is needed. Because if you don't do that early, later down the line, you'll even forget why you reached that road, you know, and how you reached that road, you know.
How we get here.
How we get here. I know we have some questions. You want to start?
Yes, we have some questions here for your boy.
Let me hear them.
So it has some good ones here. Alright, so we have 11 questions.
Yes.
Right?
Hello? You hear me? Okay, good. We're dealing with some questions here now.
Alright. So this one is from I believe a pregnant woman or somebody who has a pregnant partner. Is expecting sex 5 months into pregnancy wrong?
You can have sex into your second trimester, which is that is in the 6 month. It's all guided by your gynecologist. If your partner is pregnant and the gynecologist or OBGYN tells you it's okay for you to have sex until so and so date, by all means go ahead. But if the gynecologist OBGYN tells you you shouldn't be having sex, or if you do have sex, it should be only once a month or once a week and no rough sex, there's a reason for he or she telling you that. So you should be guided by whoever is your medical practitioner as to what you should and should not do.
Okay. Alright. Until the sex. Is semen, sperm okay to swallow?
Yes, sperm has nutrients in it.
Is it healthy to swallow?
Yeah, of course. There's nothing unhealthy about swallowing sperm unless the person have an STD. Then you shouldn't even be performing oral sex. But once the person is clean, no STDs and whatnot, of course you can go ahead and swallow sperm.
By all means, enjoy the drink.
Well, there are some women who enjoy that passionately. You know. They enjoy someone ejaculating in their mouth. They like the feeling, they like the warmth, they like the taste, they like everything about it. There's some who don't. They're opposed to that. So each person would know their limitation when it comes to oral sex and swallowing semen.
Do you think watching porn as a couple, right, could help towards having better sex?
Watching porn can be a stimulus in your relationship as long as you don't become dependent on it. Right? Anytime you become dependent on watching porn to have sex, you know you are straying away from each other and you need an outside influence to have sex. So that is something that is questionable. But porn could be used as foreplay as long as you don't become addicted to it, or it's the only form of getting into the sexual act.
Getting aroused or
Yes.
putting it in there. You know, like other people, you can't get, like men, you can't get hard unless you watch. It's like, hold on, let me just watch this. The way
Right.
you on top me.
Because you're dependent on porn to be aroused. Right? Porn addiction is like that. You got to look at porn all the time. As a matter of fact, masturbation is no longer fun without porn. So is it the masturbation that you really want or the porn? And can you control yourself enough to say, I don't need porn, I don't need to masturbate, I can control that, and I can take back my life? Though you might wonder why I say I can take back my life. There are lots of men out there who are so consumed by porn. I don't want to use the word addicted. Consumed by porn that they cannot function sexually without looking at porn. So if you're consumed by porn and you have reached that limits of yourself, then you need to stop looking at porn and check yourself. If you need porn to get an erection, you need porn to have sex, something is wrong.
Two questions on that, right? First one, is there any way, as you say, could I get back my life, right? Is there a way to break that, well, let me say addiction or the habit I wanted?
Yes.
Could it be reversed?
Yes. It could be reversed by you if you have a strong mind, and most guys who have addiction do not have a strong mind. Meaning that they don't have the willpower to change it. So they need guidance and they need instructions and they need someone to counsel them on how to change that addiction.
And in terms of guidance, that is something people could come to you.
That's what I deal with.
Right.
I deal with that also. But if you are so strong and you have the willpower, you wouldn't be addicted anyway. You'll have control.
True. Also, something else I want to ask you on that.
Go ahead. Ask.
When I come back, when I remember, I'll bring it back. Right? But let's go to this next one, which I think will line up into what we were talking about earlier. Right? As in couples and the spark, right? But this one is more, do you believe in the saying that where you get in bed is where you get?
Explain that.
So-
what you get in bed is what you get. What you get in bed is what you put out and attracts. If you go to bed with a passionate
So
woman,
what you get is what you give. What you give is what you get.
yes, is what you put out is going to allow you to receive
The energy.
the energy. Not only the energy, but the passion will cause the person. If their passion is low or if their energy is low, it's going to build up, and they're going to put out more now because they're receiving that from you. Now there are times that you're just laid back and you're enjoying the moment and you're enjoying whatever is happening, and that's fine.
Especially like if she say, you just lie down there, let me handle it for you, and you, cool, okay. Hands off the wheel and she just take on.
Right, and there's some person who will say, well, let me give you a massage, you enjoy it, and let's see where it goes.
And sometimes when that happens, it's like, I know she say she want to take control, but now I had it going so good. I let me get back into control, and you want to.
Yeah, but sometimes isn't that you losing control, because you're supposed to have that control also where you allow whatever is taking place to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you allow it to happen, the rewards might be far greater. So sometimes you just need to let go.
Especially if the woman's don't come here, tell us. I know you feel it. Like if she know, and she know your body, and she feeling that you're going to say, no, don't come here, and she keep going.
But there are things that she could do also to prevent you from ejaculating. There are techniques that you can employ where you actually hold the person back from ejaculating, from having an orgasm. So that is also part of the entire lovemaking thing. She could now become like a master over whatever she's doing, a manipulator and a controller, if she knows what she's doing. The same thing with a guy. There are guys who will bring you to the brink of having an orgasm, and then they will divert your mind. You don't have the orgasm, and they do that a few times, and then when they bring you to the orgasm, it's very intense.
Do something to distract you.
So it's what the ringmaster is doing. How the ringmaster is controlling that That's what is happening there at the moment.
The performance. I remember what I was gonna ask you the question earlier, right?
Yes.
Um, you say the dependency on the porn, right? In order to be aroused. Let's say for a man. Could that lead to a gateway to erectile dysfunction also?
Yes. It's one of the things that causes erectile dysfunction, especially now, because you have a proliferation of pornography, easily accessible. Before, pornography wasn't a major contributor to erectile dysfunction. Now it is.
When you get a magazine, if you find this on the punch, no, it's right here.
Right. But not only that it's right here, it's more intense. The pornography now is more intense than what you had long ago. Because you could find every genre of porn, everything that titillates your mind. You could find porn based on that topic, you know. So, if you could find porn based on ordinary sex, and you have gone through that and you get fed up of that and you decide to look at threesomes, and then you get fed up of that, you decide to go and look at orgies, you get fed up of it and they say, let me look at some transsexuals, and you get fed up of that. What are you doing? Where are you going to stop? What's going to cause you to stop? And that's where the problem arises. So you will have erectile dysfunction based on that. You are definitely going to be consumed by all this level of porn, and you're not going to get anything to stimulate your mind.
You need to give it a break and touch real people.
Well, if you are in true sense a loving, giving individual, your dynamics in whatever you're doing must include interaction with the opposite sex or with the same sex or with another human being. Because how could you talk about chemistry between two persons when you haven't felt it? What chemistry are you going to get from porn? The stimulation of looking at something? That's the only thing. You could hear and you could see. You can't taste and touch and smell. When you're reading, again, your eyes comes into it. You cannot hear because you're reading. So what's happening here? You're reading and you're transferring information to the brain. The stimulation comes from the brain. But very few people read porn anymore or look at pictures. Because pornography, the dynamics of it now is so intense that they want to hear the action. They don't only want to see what's going on, they want to hear the action.
I mean, the modern day version to get a picture now, if you're in a relationship, your partner send you a picture.
A selfie.
Yeah.
A porn selfie.
Yeah.
That is the modern day thing.
That's
Correct.
the modern day version. Alright. So this is for you personally. Right?
Me.
Yeah, you personally.
I don't like when people personalize things.
No. This is for you. You know, the people want to know, as a sexologist, what are two of your greatest success stories? I'm gonna say sex stories.
My greatest success stories is when I assist people to have children. That to me is my greatest success. And I was at a funeral less than a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I went and I saw this person who I knew, and I went to talk to him, and the first thing he reminded me that he had this child because of me. That is success. I have another couple. The lady, she sends me a picture of everything that the child does. When he's going to school, she sends me a picture of his first day at school, his son going to school, his son doing this, his son doing that. And she says, it's my son. No, I was never in the physical act with her. Her husband, she had the child for her husband. But she calls him my son. So that to me is my greatest accomplishment. And it didn't happen with one person, it didn't happen with two. There are over 10, 15 stories that I could tell you about like that. So that's one. Two is when I'm able to transform a person from being objecting to certain things to becoming accepting of it. Whether it be a couple having a child and the child is exhibiting signs of being homosexual, and getting them to understand that, hey, this is what the child is, and there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot. One parent wanted to operate on their child to change him, and I thought that was butchery. You couldn't do that. It wasn't going to change him, right? He was, by all indication, when I had the opportunity to speak to the child and whatnot, and I'll say a child because he was under 18, but he came with both parents. By all indication, he never had a sexual experience with somebody to say that he was indoctrinated into that lifestyle. It was the feelings that he had that he was that way. And you couldn't change that. So when you accomplish those things as a sexologist, you have accomplished. Because you have contributed to society in a way that you're not just there for entertainment, you're not just there to educate, but you're also there to transform. Transformation of society as a sexologist is something that is very important to me. And I'm not talking about transformation where I'm pushing an agenda, you know. No, because some people might feel you're transforming society based on your agenda. Transformation of society based on the education that there is out there, and getting people to be more open-minded and understanding of it. So when you have a person understanding that you can transform society to understand things differently sexually, you have accomplished something. You have accomplished that. You have made that happen. I'm not trying to push an agenda and say, well, you have to accept LBGQ2E XYZ, or you have to accept this, or everybody should be in an orgy, or everybody should try a threesome. No, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I am saying to you that this is the information about it, this is the education about it, and if you want to try it, these are the things that you should do. And these are the negativities that you have to look out for. And that to me is important. Next question.
If your partner has cheated multiple times but promise she wants to make it work, how do you build back that trust? Can a relationship like that be recovered?
Any relationship could be recovered. Let's make that clear. It depends on who has to do the forgiving. You will never forget. But who has to do the forgiving and the accepting? That's one. So any relationship could be salvaged. But once a person has it in him or her to behave in a particular way, it's very difficult for that person to transform themselves without the assistance of even their spouse, their partner, or a professional. So that's one of the things that you have to ask. Am I capable of not crossing the lines? So you don't, to build back the trust, I don't like to use build back the trust. How am I going to gain your trust if I am the one who has done wrong? And the only way you could do that is by walking a straight, narrow road, which is also sometimes very difficult for some individuals.
So you can run into, you're trying to build back, and then your partner using your mistakes as a weapon against you.
Of course, and some people do that, they'll throw it back in your face.
Yeah. So that's something people need to be careful of. That train back in your face.
You make sure you never forget.
Yeah. So they say is, I could forgive back, I won't forget. But every day you're making them remember that I ain't forget you.
Nah, but that is something you don't do either, because you have to, even though you don't forget, you pack it away in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You don't keep reminding the person of their mistakes. Don't you think they already know that they made mistakes? They would be aware of that. They're cognizant of that.
They know.
So they don't need to be reminded. What they need to do is you have to show them that I trust you enough to believe you and to give you the opportunity to better yourself and not go back down that road.
Yeah. You say you want to work on it, let me see you.
Correct.
See you. I'll be right here to help you be a better person.
Support.
Yes, to support you.
I'm here to
Yeah.
support you. I'm not here to pull you down.
Yeah. If you want to make this work,
Yeah.
let's go
Let's bring the
together.
support and let's make it work based on that.
Yeah. All right. If a woman has a family history of women having trouble getting pregnant, do you think it is wise for her to be on birth control because because she wants to have children in the future, but not right now?
Well, birth control is to prevent pregnancy at the moment. Birth control is not to prevent pregnancy in the future. When you're ready to get pregnant, you come off your birth control, you get back onto your regular normal cycle, and you can become pregnant then. So, if at the time now, you don't want to get pregnant, you don't want to have a child, you don't want to bring a child into this world, there are, let's say, you're studying her, and now, if her family have a history of women not getting pregnant, doesn't mean to say she's that way. There's always an exception to the rule. She may be very fertile. So don't use that as a means of contraceptive.
Or you could check on your sperm count.
Or use a condom.
Yeah.
But what I'm meaning is you might tell yourself, well, okay, nobody in your family is get pregnant easy, so she won't get pregnant. No.
Like say the
That is taking a chance. That is taking a serious chance. So don't do that.
I mean, they say have trouble, so which means they have trouble, they can still have children. So it's still a 50-50. So you never know. She could be more than just the 50.
She's going to be more, exactly.
Right? And then too, even something like this, she wants, if you get into a relationship with somebody, and I really don't understand this sometimes. You get into a relationship, you want to say, look, right now I don't want to have no children. I love you and everything. Why, as you as a man who say that I love this woman, right, cannot accept that fact and say, I'm looking to build something with this person. They don't want the child now.
Because some men feel that if I have a child with you, I lock you down. Some men feel, and there's some men out there who are breeders. They go around just breeding women. So you have to be careful of choosing your partner also. You don't know if he, as you get pregnant, he don't want to have anything to do with you. You don't know if he is in it that, hey, if I get she pregnant and she have a child for me, she wouldn't go out there and look for another man. What is the motivation behind him wanting to get you pregnant right away?
Not being that person, but you're living in a time now also where women want to work on themselves, right? Whether it be personally,
Educationally and otherwise.
Yes. So yes, I'm with you. I love you and everything, but I also want to make sure, I have some level of independence for myself, and I could grow on my own. I don't need to be dependent on you right through. And as a man, you have to understand this sense of living
Again,
with somebody.
Yes, the ordinary, sensitive man will understand that. The man who is a breeder, or the man who is out there to lock you down, or the man who is out there to fool you will not want to understand that.
And if that is the case, then the woman should be mindful of that, open-eyed to that. Say, look at what he's saying there, and say, you know what?
He doesn't respect my wishes.
Right now, you are not the man for me.
Right. You don't respect my wishes.
Yeah. Because that could lead to other distrust in the relationship going down the road.
Correct.
So you need to work on that early o'clock. You see it, nip it in the bud early o'clock. Because it's just
control it right away.
Yeah. That's the first domino to fall. Alright, so moving on. Does it mean that you are bisexual? I guess this is for a man, right? If you love being pegged.
No. It's a sexual act. If you want to be pegged by a man, that is something different. But if you're being pegged by a female and you're enjoying what the female is doing to you, it does not mean to say you have bisexual tendency.
Yeah.
It's a feeling on you. It has to do with you and your partner. But if the desire is from the same sex and the opposite sex, then it's an indication of bisexuality.
But does it start with by curious first? You're being curious about
You
it.
must be curious about it to be first so going to be bisexual. But anything with anal play is no indication that you're bisexual
Oh, okay.
or gay.
Yeah, you try it. It's not for you. I mean, what me and my
It is a
woman.
sexual act, and we were talking about passion.
Mm,
And when we're talking about passion, anything can happen in that passionate moment. So, if in that passionate moment pegging comes into it, anal play comes into it, fingering, tonguing, or whatever, inner lingers, and you enjoy it at the moment with your partner that you're doing it with, and it's that it done there.
I mean,
It's done. When you're done, you're done.
that's what I see it too. Eh? What me and my partner do in behind closed door and all, it's my business.
No,
Alright.
no. I think the person means that from your own perspective.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're questioning your sexuality based on the fact that you like that, there's no need to, unless you like it from the same sex. Then you start.
Because the question could come to my brethren and them in into that kind of thing.
But your
Them go
brethren
say
and them don't
that
have to know
gay
what you're doing
and
in the
thing.
bedroom.
Exactly. That too.
Next question.
uh, what's a little way to strengthen the bond in a marriage?
Understanding each other, growing with one another, accepting the changes that comes along. And I'm not talking about the changes around you, but physical changes in the person because of medical issue, because of aging process. There are going to be physical changes. But not only accepting it, but loving it. Loving the person for who they are.
Mm-hmm. Being respectful also
Yeah.
of your partner.
All those things strengthens the relationship. Don't take each other for granted. Don't ever take your wife for granted or your husband for granted and say, yeah, he will never cheat on me, man. Look at his body. Uh-huh. Body has nothing to do with it.
The neglect that the intimacy.
If you're right, correct. You could have the most fantastic body in the world and you're not connected to your husband. He will be connected to somebody who has a body just as yours, or worse than yours, or better than yours.
Because what you have is the physical. You give him the physical attraction, or is the
No,
emotional?
you have something to bring about physical attraction, but you're not getting physical attraction from me because I know your personality.
Exactly.
If you have the perfect body and a rotten personality, how am I going to connect with you?
Mm-hmm. Like
It's not going to happen.
you're showing people one thing, but I know you. It's like when you showing people. Yeah.
Well, there's a saying: "Show me a beautiful woman, I'm sure it have a man out there who has rejected her,
Mm-hmm.
who don't see her as being a beautiful person because he knows her." And not all women you could really live with or want to connect with based on their personality. There's some women out there that really have a rotten personality, and they have a rotten personality based on their physical appearance because they think that
They could get
I am
anything.
so good looking, I am so nice, any man will want me, so I don't care about my personality. But personality has a lot to do with it.
They hit devices. They say in the lighter it says, "I am the prize."
Yeah, but the price ain't worth it. If the price is not worth it, why are you going after it?
Excitement.
Next question.
uh, what are some tools people can use to start their sexual wellness journey?
During the day?
Yeah, the wellness journey.
Oh, the journey.
Yeah.
Um, read back that first part.
What are some tools people can use to start their or unlock their sexual wellness journey?
Again, it comes back to the question that we had before, where you have to have the understanding in your relationship, know your limitations, and also have a certain amount of knowledge, know-how about the things that you can and cannot do. Know your body type. Know if you're capable of doing certain positions or incapable. Know your stamina level. If you're a premature ejaculator, how are you going to satisfy a partner if whatever you intend to do is supposed to take half an hour and you ejaculating in 2 minutes? Don't reach for things that you are unable to handle. Handle the little things first and then build up.
You don't underperform.
Correct?
Because you need you to perform, but you know you don't have the capacity to reach certain.
You know you're going to fail.
Yeah.
So why put yourself through that?
You know, you see what you're asking for there? I can't make it all the way, you know. So let me see how we could work around and do something else, you know. Negotiate it. Right, on to the next question here. How can sexual exploration be a liberating experience?
Well, if you are open to exploring your true sexuality, of course it's going to be liberating because then you become more aware of yourself and you know your potential. So if you are a person that could explore in different areas and enjoy things that are not mundane, things that are going to excite you as a person, things that are going to open you up and give you that level of joy and comfort and happiness. Isn't that a positive thing? Aren't we here? According to a friend of mine today, he said, Raj, this whole world is a joke, you know. And I just here enjoying myself. And I understand what he's coming about. He don't mean it literally that the world is a joke, you know. He means, there's a saying, life's a stage. And we are all actors here, playing our part. That's what he meant. He had taken literally that life is a joke because he has to work, he has to earn a living, he has to eat, he has to sleep. So he understands that. But he says that life is a joke and he's here enjoying himself. He's enjoying the joke. And he's one man I know enjoys the joke. So why can't we understand that and be like that? That life is about fun. Life is not about sadness and strife and worries. Life is much more than those things. So if we embrace our true selves and explore our true selves from the sexual point, you bring a certain level of happiness to yourself. But many of us are afraid to do that because of the stigmas attached to exploring oneself sexually. So what needs to be done as human beings is set our sights on whatever we want to do it with limitations and make sure the limitations are outside influence. Who gets to know whatever you're doing? That's the limitation. But don't limit yourself. Do your exploration to 100% and more. Enjoy it. This life is a joke. Enjoy it. This life is about sex. Enjoy it. This life is about work. And like my godfather would say, work is worship. Enjoy it. Whatever you're doing in this life, enjoy it to the fullest. Be part and parcel of whatever you're doing. Nothing revolves around you. Nothing revolves around you. The world is going to move on with or without you. But you're here for a moment. A man might say, I live until 80, and that's long. Is that long in the scheme of things?
Yeah, it's an universe, it's just a moment.
And it's a moment. It's a wink of an eye. Right? So if you are blessed to be living beyond your 50 years of age, and there are things that you want to explore about yourself physically, take a journey, a trip, emotionally, sexually, go ahead, enjoy it. Don't wait for later on when you have regrets. It's the same thing. I have heard people say, waiting for retirement to travel. When retirement comes along, I know many persons who have died immediately after retirement, you know.
Yeah, yeah, young
I'm
now.
serious. I know persons who did not survive a year after retirement, you know. They never got to enjoy their life, unfortunately, because they waited for retirement to start enjoying their life. Do not wait for that. Do not wait for when the children leave the house for you and your wife to rekindle a love affair. Your wife is your lover, your husband is your lover. Have a love affair.
Should take that time to teach your child how to be a loving couple
Ah, yes.
when they find their respective
Right.
partner.
So you and your spouse have a loving affair, a love affair, a sexual affair. Have that affair with one another. And do not wait, because when the children leave the house, who coming in? Not the grandchildren?
Mm-hmm.
And you go want to sleep and hang up with the grandchildren anyway. So why are you putting yourself through that? Expose your mind, your body to the things that you want to explore. Be safe in your exploration. Do not endanger yourself with STDs, STIs, or physical harm.
Know your limitations.
Know your limitations. And trust whoever it is you are going to do something with. Trust that person. And things will be good.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do. We have reached the point where I have to wrap up because I have to attend a function. I told Master Control already. So Master Control, you there? David? He forgot me. I made sure I give him a time, you know. So folks, for those of you who have been listening, I want to thank you very much. I have to sign off now. And hopefully Master Control will take over. I just sent him a message. Let's see. Yeah, so that's a very serious thing that I said there, you know. Do not wait and procrastinate and say, I am going to do so and so, I'm going to experience so and so at a later stage.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity, you have the health and strength to experience it and to do the things that you want to do now, do it.
And that's where you must develop the work-home life balance. You know, yeah, you're working, you know.
Work. You have to work. You have to earn.
Yeah, you have to work to enjoy life and those kind of.
Yeah, you have to pay taxes. You have to do.
Tell
Yeah.
me, babes, I wanna do something this weekend. Nah, I work. All right, next weekend, yeah, I work. My boss, come on. Your boss, in some way, enjoyed
And
his
he
life,
enjoying himself or she enjoying themselves,
right? And you out there,
and you out there slaving for that.
and your relationship suffering.
Correct.
Right? And then when your partner knows, say, you know, she not time for going to some friends and she not time for me and that friend goes say, well, I have time for you.
Yeah.
And then you want to know why he do that, why she do that. Where were you? You ain't making time for your partner.
Okay, good. So you know I need to sign off now. I have to attend a seminar now. So thank you very much for having me, and I hope we were able to expound some of the information that is needed. Excellent. I appreciate it. You take care. You too. All the best. And you yourself, because I know you have a distance to go.